Hi there. Welcome back to another video about the Idun cartridge for the Commodore 128. This video is going to be a tutorial, and my aim is to show you the steps necessary to set up the complete Gamebase64 Gamebase collection for access from the Idun cartridge using the new arcade mode. So we're going to go through several steps, but in the end, basically we're going to have the complete collection from Gamebase64 on a PC in a shared directory, and then mounting that shared directory from the Idun cartridge, assigning it to the G drive on the Idun cartridge, and then when we reboot the Commodore 128 into arcade mode, then you have access to the full 25,000 plus games that make up the Gamebase64 collection. So, well, you're on your own if you don't already have Gamebase64 to go find it out there on the various internet archives that exist. I'm actually doing this tutorial using Gamebase64 version 18. And when you have successfully downloaded that and extracted the files, what you'll see is this contents like we have here. You only need the games portion of the Gamebase64 archive. You don't need screenshots, you don't need the music files, other various and sundry things that are part of that collection. You just need the games. And you'll have directory organized like this, and if you drill down into any one of these subdirectories, like if I open up A1, you'll see there's a bunch of funny names for various games, and within each of those is basically a zip file. So then inside of the zip file, if we open up one of them, let's choose this aardvark one here, and we'll open the archive, and within that you'll have either a T64 or a D64 file, and you'll have this version.nfo file, which is a description about the game itself. So that's where you're going to start. The first step that you need to do is to reorganize these files in a more appropriate subdirectory and naming structure. And in order to do that, you're going to want to switch over to a browser, and you want to find the what's called the Gamebase64 reorganizer. So go to your favorite search engine. I'm using DuckDuckGo here, but just search for GB64 reorganizer, and you'll find some links. And if you choose one of those links, it'll take you to this Obliterator 918 site. And at the menu from the top, you'll see one of the options is Gamebase64 Reorganizer SD. So you click on that, and then you will find a link to download the latest version. So it's this GB64 Reorganizer SD.zip file, latest version as of this recording 4.0.4.1. And you want to download this and extract it. And when you have done that, switch back over to Explorer here. And you will see I have a GB64 Reorganizer SD already extracted, and there's an application here, GB64 Reorg. So you want to launch that application. And so you'll see a window like the one I'm showing here, GB64 Reorganizer. And in order to set this up, well, the first thing you're going to need to do is select the appropriate directory where you've extracted the original Gamebase64 games. So in my case, we're going to need to browse to our downloads and then GB64 V18 games. Click OK, and you need to select a location for the output. So I'm just going to put the output in a new directory in downloads. You don't need to include game SIDs. You don't need to use any game ID ROM lister at this point, although that might be something you'd like to experiment with if you want to create a filtered listing instead of using the entire collection. For file folder optimization, you do want to select SD to IEC, and you do want to include optimized format for the version NFO files. And then also, very importantly, make sure that the extract T64 files to PXX files is checked. Once you've have all those selections made, just like shown here, then you press the Go button, and it's going to to run for a while. So after several minutes of scanning zip files, you'll see that it's closing in on the total, roughly 25,000 files. So then after about 10 minutes of extracting archive files and reorganizing them into the new directory structure, you'll see that the process completes and you get this nice little ready prompt telling you that it's all done. So at this point, if we switch back to Explorer window and we look in our chosen output directory, which was downloads, we'll see we have this new Gamebase SD subdirectory, and within it now we have a different organization of all of our Gamebase64 games. So now there's no more zip archives. If I go into the A directory, which you'll see is some more alphabetic subdirectories, if you go into any one of those, you'll see a list of more recognizable names of games, and if you go into any one of the game subdirectories, you'll see the version.nfo file and either D64 file or P00, P01, that format of single file game loaders. So this is the format that it needs to be in for the Idun-cartridge arcade mode to make use of it. You'll also notice there's this gamelist.csv file here, and let's open that in Notepad real quick. And this is actually the database that the Idun-cartridge uses to build an index so that you have search capability and a nice user interface for selecting games. So don't delete the gamelist CSV file. It's also used by the software on the Idun-cartridge. So now that we have our reorganized subdirectory, next step is to share that subdirectory so that we can then mount it from the Idun-cartridge, make it accessible from the Idun-cartridge. It will be set up as the G drive. So this is just like any other time you would want to share a directory in Windows. Just select a directory, go into Properties. We're going to select Sharing. And from the sharing properties, click on the share button. Make sure you have at least your own account in there as the owner, permission level. Click on share. And then when it tells you that the directory has been shared, you also need to go into the advanced sharing settings. And then from the advanced sharing dialog, you want to share this folder, and I'm going to make a slight change to the name here. We're going to share it as Gamebase64 as the shared name. And then you also need to go into the permissions to make sure that you have full read and write permissions as the owner of this directory. So you'll see we automatically have just read access for everyone. Read access for everyone, and you're going to want to add your normal account. And for your normal login account, you're going to want to change that to allow full control and change. So now read-write access, and apply that. And then you can back out of all of these windows. And at this point, you'll see the network path, whatever the name of your machine is on your network, and whatever name you've chosen. So in my case, it's going to be network path is going to be / scrub, that's the name of this computer, / Gamebase64. And that's probably the hardest step. So now we're done with that. And that is basically all the setup you need to do for the PC. Now the next step is to log into the Idun-cartridge, and I'm just going to use SSH on the PC to do that and mount the shared folder from the Idun-cartridge. So we'll do SSH idun at idun-py and log in. And we first need to create a directory to use as the mount point. So you'll do something like a sudo make directory, and I'm going to use /mnt /gamebase, lowercase gamebase, for my directory name. And that should be make directory -p. And if you do ls-l/mnt, you'll see you have a Gamebase subdirectory, and now we're ready to do the mount. So it's sudo mount -t sifs for Common Internet File System, -o, and we'll do quote username equals whatever your username is on your Windows PC. And then the name of your shared folder, so //scrub or /Gamebase64, and then your mount location, so /mount/Gamebase. And you'll have to log in, so provide your password, your Windows password. And now, if we do ls/mount/Gamebase, you see the files on your PC, well, the alphabetical subdirectories on your PC. So now at this point, the next thing we need to do is to modify the configuration on the Idun cartridge so that the G: virtual drive points to this /mnt/Gamebase directory. So I'm again going to do that just from the PC. So I'll go back into Firefox. And so now in Firefox, we're going to connect using the file browser. So connect to idun-pi:8080 and log in using the default login. And I go into the .config subdirectory and the idun-rc toml file. So if we scroll down to where the G drive is defined, you'll see that we have a make that a little bit bigger. We'll see we currently have the default setting for the G drive, so it points to /home/idun/idun-base/c64 PD games. So that's the small collection of public domain games that comes installed on the SD card. So we're just going to change this path variable to, instead of that, we'll put in /mnt/Gamebase. And you want to click on the little floppy disk save icon to save that change. And then you can close out of this. And at this point, you're ready to boot your C128 and your Idun cartridge into arcade mode. And we'll see what that looks like. Make sure that the mode switch is in the enabled position. Press the reset button. And you will see that the arcade app comes up, and it's going to sit in this indexing flashing screen mode for about 15 seconds. This only happens on the first time. So the first time you start arcade mode with a new game list CSV file, it indexes it, and that only happens the first time. Subsequent reboots of the computer starts up within a second or so. So here we see we have 28,261 games, and we can quickly whittle the list down by doing something like typing the keyword Kong. Will show us the 23 games that have Kong in the title. And if we want to launch a game, we can scroll around, select a game, press enter, and then press enter again to select the program file to load. And there we go, we've loaded Donkey Kong Jr. From the PC across the network using the Idun cartridge arcade mode. So resetting the computer again, this time you'll see when we come back up in the arcade mode, the game selector will appear after just about a second of reloading the index, as opposed to needing much more time to generate the index on the first boot. So back in the game selector, again, you can type keywords and really find games that you know at least part of the name for very quickly. You can type load to find the various load runner games, but you could also type runner and also find the load runner games, along with all the other games that have runner in the title. Anyway, I think you get the idea, and I hope that this tutorial has proven useful, and thanks for watching.